Welcome to day 94 of the 300 Movie Challenge. Today we watched the highest grossing film of March 2002, which was Ice Age. I saw this like a good amount. I still have the VHS somewhere.
Nice.
But let's see, Maya, you said you saw it once, like a long time ago, and Tara, have you seen it before? I don't remember.
I have seen it before, also a really long time ago.
Okay.
We're probably thinking of the same point in time. It was in like middle school.
Oh no, I saw
yeah.
it in I saw it previous to that at my neighbor's house too.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
I watched it twice then. But yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it before.
Okay.
Yeah, we've all seen it before at some point.
Yeah, but I definitely watched it the most. I mean, I haven't seen it recently. I'm not sure exactly when the last time was I saw it, but yeah. If anything, it was interesting because, like, for a lot of the movie, I was like, it's like, you know, if you told me before I watched it, like, what specifically happens, I, like, probably wouldn't be able to tell you, but, like, every scene, I'm like, oh, this is gonna happen, oh, this is gonna happen, oh, this is gonna happen, like, it just all, like, came back, but, like, I knew everything was gonna happen, and, like, so many of the lines of dialogue I remembered. I was curious to see, like, because, again, I watched this a lot when I was younger, like, you know, watching it again, how do I think about it? And at least for me, it still works. It's fairly close to walking the line between, like, funny and annoying. Like, especially Sid is, like, you know, kind of right on that line for me, but I think it does, like, fall on the funny side instead of annoying. But I can definitely,
because he's the butt of all the jokes.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see other people finding him too annoying, so I understand that completely. But to me, yeah, he, like, just doesn't fall. I think probably because, yeah, the other characters just, like, harass him so much, and
Yeah.
so, yeah, and then there were some things that, like, I appreciated now that, like, I didn't, you know, probably didn't get as much. Like, for example, the cave painting thing.
Oh yeah.
Like, that was really good. I was like, oh, yeah, that was really well portrayed. And yeah, it's like, it's kind of funny because, again, there's so many, like, random silly stuff, but it's like, there are, like, legitimately, like, emotional moments like that, and then, like, the whole kind of ending part. So
Yeah, I teared up like 3
and
times.
then also with the mom in the beginning.
Oh yeah, that, yep. So it's weird because, like, you would think that, like, because of that, like, you might have, like, emotional whiplash, but, like, somehow you don't.
Yeah.
It's kind of
This
weird.
movie knows how to, like, handle its tone very, very well.
Unlike some other movies we've seen where it's basically mood whiplash. But yeah, this is a good example of being able to, like, just go with the flow with the emotion and everything, and it's not just like, okay, we're gonna go from this really sad moment to a really happy moment to a really angry moment.
Yeah, and I think part of it helps is that, like, throughout the whole thing, like, the characters kind of, like, harass each other and make, like, silly comments even in more serious scenes.
Yeah.
So, like, it doesn't feel out of place when it's, like, all... It's not like, you know, all humor stops, you know what I mean? It's not like that so much.
Yeah.
So, I think that works. If anything, I do think that, like, the characters, how they interact with each other, it feels, like, realistic and, like, how, in that regard, it's like, yeah, they're kind of annoyed at each other, but it's like, you know, it doesn't feel, like, too mean.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause that was kind of the problem I had with Shrek a little bit, was I felt like they were kind of unnaturally mean at points, and it just felt kind of weird.
Yeah, in this case, you could kind of see that they did actually care about each other, even though they might not, like, outwardly say it. It's
Especially
very
the
small
endings.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say
They
also...
have a good dynamic too.
Yeah. I will say, I was kind of comparing this to Shrek in my head a lot, just because it's kind of similar in tone and stuff like that. But because Shrek, that was just last year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm, like, totally blanking right now. But
Yeah.
it's interesting because, like, I felt like this looked noticeably better.
Yeah.
Because, like, especially, like, the backgrounds for Shrek, they looked kind of like
flat?
I don't know if flat's the right word, but it was, like, obviously fake.
Disjointed?
Does that make, like, obviously fake? Like, you know, the plants and, like, the colors just looked like obviously, like, I mean, fake is not the right word. Like, it didn't feel realistic.
Mm.
It didn't feel like it fit the characters.
Well, no, it did. It made sense because, like, it's supposed to be like a fantasy world, right? So it like kind of makes sense in that regard.
But you could kind of tell that something was off about it, kind of, or odd.
A little bit, yeah. Again, it's not like really bad. It's not like the movie looked terrible or anything. But I don't know, just like the thing that reminds me in particular is like when they're like in the, I think it was sunflowers near the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know why, but for some reason that scene, like, it kind of looked a little off to me, and I never really had that here. I always thought it looked pretty good. The humans still look a little off, but they're stylized on purpose because of they're old native people.
Oh,
so,
actually, speaking of humans, I appreciated the fact that the humans do not speak at all.
Yeah, that's true.
I do like how they kind of mimic that as like they flipped it around, so humans, like, animals don't talk, so it's not. If you noticed at one point there was like, I think it's actually near the end where Sid's like kept saying goodbye, and like Diego walks up and he's like, "Stop wasting your breath. Humans can't talk." Or something. And it was just like
that was kind of like funny. Humans can't talk.
I know, right? Stupid humans. They can't talk.
I also like all the Easter eggs they put in, like the Spock hand signal.
Yeah, there were a lot of like references, and they weren't like annoying references. They were like put in very well.
Yeah.
Like the random flying saucer in the ice, and like how it depicts a museum almost. The sight gags were very clever.
Yeah, I feel like I might be remembering this totally wrong, but I feel like that flying saucer, like, it's like that's kind of a recurring joke that like aliens are stuck in the ice or something.
Oh, really?
I don't remember. Again, I have seen the second one, but it was like once, like when it came out, so I don't really remember it, and I haven't seen the ones after that, so yeah.
The aliens have been stuck here for millennia now.
I don't know. I just find that funny. But yeah, there was something else in terms of like visual stuff, but there was some other reference that I was like, I can't remember what it was now.
Was it the stoplight? The traffic light?
Oh, okay, yeah. So there's this really like random scene where it's like during kind of a montage, I guess, where like they're at like a little thing, and then like there's a little like red poof that comes up, and then like a wall of ice moves past, and then like a green poof pops up, and they keep walking. And I remember as a kid, I never understood that scene. I'm like, why is ice just like randomly moving in front of them, and why is this thing poofing? And I finally realized it's a fucking like traffic light. Oh my god, I'm so dumb. How did I like not notice that?
Then there was like the thing with the geyser, and they pointed out that it was fateful. Like,
oh yeah.
Well, no, like I got that as a kid, but I somehow didn't get the obvious traffic light. I'm so dumb. I don't know. It's so weird. Oh, okay. And then I also should mention, so there's the scene where like Sid is in like a little hot spring thing with like two of the like girl sloths, and as he's leaving, he's like, "I'll leave you two to marinate for a while" or something. And I always thought that was like, because that was the first time I'd heard that word when I was watching it, so I thought it was like something kind of sexual in some way.
Oh my god.
So, because like it means something like, having something cook in hot water or something like that, and it's just like, it's something to do with that, something being in hot water. It's so like, it makes sense. It's not like a wrong statement or whatever, but like for someone who never heard the word before, and considering like the context of the scene and how it's played up, I was associated it with that. So yeah, it's just like, oh, okay. So anyway, but yeah, I swear there was something else though that I'm forgetting about. Dang it.
It's about characters, environment.
I don't know.
I was gonna say that I personally think that this film actually held up more than Shrek, I think.
Yeah.
I like this.
I think I remembered the cave scene very well, but like the rest of it I couldn't for some reason. I guess because it's been like 10 years.
Well, yeah.
But like seeing the whole movie again, it's like I can appreciate how the storytelling was done because it's a very good mix, as we said, of comedy and very serious and poignant scenes.
Yeah.
especially when it comes to like, I guess this movie is a lot about relationships, like between friends and like I guess the interspecies relationships, just not just between these animals, but between like particularly
People.
Manny and people, because I remember when the mom was giving the child to Manny and Sid, the mom and Manny, they kind of locked eyes, I guess because like he could kind of relate to her situation.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And then at the very end, you see him lock eyes with the father. So I thought that was very, like, well done. Just the whole emotional... I'm getting kind of emotional right now. Emotional aspect of that.
Well, it's interesting, like, it kind of also goes into the whole, like, you know, judge someone, like, by their actions, not, like, from what you associate that kind of person as.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So, and that's kind of something that's, like, you know, like, the when you think of something like that in a movie, especially an animated movie, you think of, like, Zootopia, which this came out, you know, way before that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, and it wasn't like the focus, so it was kind of more subtle about it, because you know it's the whole thing about just Diego as a character in general is about that, and then also again with like Manny and the humans, how he kind of, it seems very clear at the beginning he like doesn't like humans, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it makes sense why, but you know, so yeah, just how that works. It's well done in that regard as well. So, oh, and actually, speaking of Diego, I'm really glad that they didn't, like, harp on the whole thing, like, you lied to us, or whatever. It's like, they're like, yeah, you lied, and then it's like, but I can help you, and it's like, alright, fine, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like,
Yeah,
that
I
was
thought that
nice.
was resolved.
Yeah.
That was resolved really well, and I think his whole like character development was done. It was handled very well because he didn't like immediately turn, you know,
Good.
I'm gonna help them like completely. He's kind of like, you see him have second thoughts like every here and there. He's like, kind of
But
like
at the same
them.
time, it's not like he,
Yeah.
even as a viewer, I mean, okay, like, given the fact that it's a kid's movie, you can probably guess where it's going, but ignoring that, like, you don't really know what he's going to do until, like, the end
Yeah.
of the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, when, for example, it looks like, oh, he's like, you know, during that scene at the night where he's, you know, seems to gonna go take the baby, but then he kind of doesn't, and you might think, oh, see, he's having a change of heart. But then the other Sabretooth shows up and he says, like, no, I'm leading them here, like, on purpose, that's my goal, and you're like, oh, okay, that actually makes sense from that perspective. So is he good? You know what I mean? So it is kind of like legitimately you don't really know.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's pretty predictable because of the kind of movie it is, but it's at least
He's
something.
definitely played more gray than other characters
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
his like typing would be.
That said, I just have to wonder what went wrong after this movie. Because I've seen the commercial for the fourth movie,
Oh,
and
not
why are
good.
they in space?
The canon ends here, maybe with the second one. I've never seen the second one myself.
Yeah, I don't know anything about. The only thing I remember about the second one is there's now a girl mammoth. That's all I know. I don't know like
Okay.
anything else. So, yeah. There's the girl mammoth, and of course the little rat dude that keeps Chipmunk, whatever, keeps breaking things.
With his acorns.
Yes, that's the running joke.
Just let him have his acorns.
I love how, like, at the very end when he gets to like the tropical island and then it thaws out and then he like freaks out, breaks out of the ice, and then smacks his head on a tree, and then a coconut, and he's like, oh, "This is the best day ever."
And then he sets off a volcano
Yeah,
with the same exact thing that opened the movie.
yeah, it was kind of, that was cool.
Bookend.
Yeah, I did. Oh, I know there was like a short that came with this about him and like the acorn. Maybe I could like find it on YouTube and I could show it to you guys. You know, I mean, it's what you think it is. But I remember the ending of it is like, you know, as like overblown and ridiculous as possible. So
Oh my god.
that's something. They are pretty good at kind of like, you know, making something like ridiculously overblown, but like that's the point. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
I mean, you're not watching this for the historical accuracy.
No.
what? I thought I was getting my realistic Cro-Magnon drama.
Your Cro-Magnon soap opera.
Yes. The Bollywood Cro-Magnon film.
Oh my god.
Oh god. But yeah, so it still holds up. That's basically answers that question.
Yeah.
I can see it annoying some people, but to us it seems like it didn't. So, hooray!
Yay.
If you watched it, you can give it a rewatch.
Yeah.
Yes.
I am kind of curious, at least like in maybe a little bit of a masochistic way, to see the sequels.
Oh my
But
God.
yeah, I don't
I'm
know.
gonna end my canon here for now.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway,
And with that lovely ending.
yeah, with the next film we're watching is one that like we haven't seen, but I have heard at least that apparently it was one of those films that like it was in I heard this film was brought up. Oh, now I feel like I'm gonna completely spoil it, so I'll say this later. But basically, I've heard people say it's good, but at the same time, I've heard people say because others said it was good, they were disappointed.
Oh, okay.
So
We should go in with no expectations.
yeah,
basically.
I don't know. Boink. So yeah, who knows? Who knows?
We'll see.
Yeah.
Just based on what it is, I'm going in with very low expectations.
Yeah, based on what it is and also just the title, I'm kind of like, this sounds bad. But we'll
I would like to hope that it might be
Yes,
more.
not
maybe.
bad.
Yeah. I would like to hope that, but can't be too optimistic with these kinds of movies.
Nope, we've learned our lesson.
Yes.
So
I
hooray.
still remember the massive disappointment that was Dumb and Dumber.
Oh my god, yeah. After
Because back
interview-
then we were like, oh, it's just gonna be like a really stupid movie and like a comedic movie.
People like this movie, right? It's gotta be at least decent, right?
Right?
It's still in hell right now for us.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out. Oh boy.
Oh boy!
Bye.
Goodbye!
Bye. The acorn freezes, thaws out, but then gets washed away, and then he like loses his mind. But then he sees a coconut, and he's like, "Oh no!
Are you okay?
Oh shit!"
Mal lost.
Oh.
Oh god! I inhaled my spit. Ugh. Oh god.
Are you okay?
Okay, hold on. I need to compose myself.
You should stick this at the end.